Hi, today we're going to talk about 3 types of Woodson James Angus steaks that are very popular, but you might not be familiar with them or know how to prepare. But when these are cooked and sliced correctly, they are wonderful steaks. First is the flank steak. Then we have a skirt steak. And finally, the hanger steak. Flank steak is bright red in color, weighs about 2 to 4 pounds. It's got a finer grain than the other 2 steaks we're going to talk about today. This is great for marinating, a London broil, or even for a pot roast. The next steak is a skirt steak. Darker in color, it's going to have a more full beef flavor to it. Skirt steak is about 1.5 pounds to 2.5 pounds. A little bit smaller, a much wider grain to it. This is perfect for a Mexican churrasco steak, sliced for fajitas, or just marinated and grilled on. And finally, we have our hanger steak. Hanger steak has even darker color than the skirt steak, a full, bold beef flavor. It's got a wide grain. This is perfect for fajitas also, if you want to slice it, or a Mexican arrachera steak, and that's what we're going to make today. So let's get started. We're going to make a marinade for the steak. We want to start with the juice of 1 orange and 1 lime. You just want to squeeze that in there. And the lime will add a little bit of tart flavor to it. And that acid is going to help marinate that steak so it gets a little bit more tender. We're going to add some olive oil, salt and pepper, and then some real good flavors. I'm going to add some cumin and some garlic, a lot of garlic, and then some great cilantro. That's going to add a lot of nice flavor, fresh flavor to it. And finally, for a little heat, and this is optional, some jalapenos. We want to put our steak inside this bag. The bag will make for a quick cleanup afterwards. And marinate this steak in the refrigerator for about 2 or 3 hours. Every 15 to 20 minutes, turn the bag over to make sure the steak gets marinated on every side and all that flavor goes everywhere on the steak. I just want to mix it all up inside there. And then put it on the side to marinate in the refrigerator. And I've got one that's been marinating for a couple hours already. These are ready for the grill. First, we want to get our grill ready. Make sure it's good and hot. Make sure it's clean, so brush down the grates. That way the steaks won't stick to it. And then to really make sure that the steak is going to move freely on those grates, want to oil them just a little bit. All right, now let's get cooking. Take our steak out, and you can leave the marinade and the cilantro and the garlic right on that steak. It'll add even more flavor as it's cooking. You should hear that sear right away as it goes on there. We want to have high heat to make sure we sear the outside, but then turn the heat down a little bit so that it cooks a little bit more slowly. We want to cook it for about 3 to 5 minutes on one side, turn it over, and cook it for about another 5 minutes. This is best served rare to medium, and that'll make the most tender steak. Once the steak has been cooked and rested for 5 minutes, then we want to take it off the grill and slice it. You can see the wide grain in the steak. That's really going to add a lot of flavor and great texture when we go to eat. Slice against that grain. That will make it much more tender. You can serve this with some guacamole, salsa, a little bit more cilantro, and jalapenos if you'd like. These steaks are all a great value. And now that you're more familiar with them, pick up some Woodson James Angus flank, skirt, and hanger steaks. Cook them up and impress your friends and family with a great dinner.